What's up, everybody, and welcome to One Man's Opinion. And today we're talking about my top 10 most anticipated movies of 2021. This is the list of movies that I'm most excited about, the ones that we're going to get to see this year. Now, granted, some of these were supposed to come out last year, but due to COVID, they got pushed back. Of course, that's always possible to happen. So some of these movies, especially some of the ones that are slated to come out toward the end of the year, if there are further issues with coronavirus, we might have a few of these pushed back a little bit further. But for now, they are slated for these time slots, and I'm super excited about these movies. So here's 10 movies that I'm looking forward to, and a bunch of them I didn't even know were coming out this coming year. Some of them I had heard talked about. I didn't know that they were actually even moving forward with them. So I'm really excited about several of these, and I'm betting that there's a couple on this list that you didn't know were coming out this year. So hopefully it'll get you excited some too. So here we go, jumping right into it. Number 10, coming out toward the end of this year, December 22nd is where it's sitting at right now. We'll see when it actually comes out. But Sherlock Holmes 3, it's untitled right now. But of course, Sherlock Holmes, starring Robert Downey Jr., is coming back for a third movie. And I saw this and super excited about it. Of course, I really like the first two movies. To me, most people like the first movie better than the second. I've always been a fan of the second one a little bit more. So I'm super excited to see what they can put together for this third one. Of course, I've watched the Sherlock Holmes TV show starring Benedict Cumberbatch. I've unfortunately never read the books, but still, I've seen the TV show. I know there are a lot of different stories, a lot of interesting things that they can do with Sherlock Holmes, so I'm super excited to see where they go with it. Coming in at number 9 is The King's Man. Now, this will be a prequel to The Kingsman, which so far has two movies. There's the first Kingsman, and then there's The Kingsman 2. I think that's called The Golden Circle? I can't remember what is the Golden Circle? Is that Kingsman? I'm going to cheat. It was the Golden Circle. Had it right. Anyway, I enjoyed the first two movies. There are a lot of goofy things with these movies. It's not really for everybody. They're not exactly family friendly for the most part, but it is a really funny take on what had become a very stale, like 007 spy type genre film. And it's a nice spin on that. It's got a lot of humor in it. It's got really good action sequences. And with this third movie, which is actually a prequel to the first two, I'm actually more excited to see Rasputin. Rasputin is almost a mythological creature. Like, he's a historical figure, but there's so much strange history surrounding this guy that there's almost unlimited possibilities to what they could do with that character, especially in a historical fiction setting. Regardless, getting to see him in this movie, it could be a lot of fun. There's a lot of really interesting things they could do with him. I wasn't that excited to hear that they were going to do a prequel with this series. There's so much more they could do in sequel territory. I didn't know why they were going back to do a prequel, and I still don't really know why they're doing that. But Rasputin is the selling point for me. I'm really excited to see that and can't wait to see what happens. I don't know if I mentioned this, but it comes out in March. So looking forward to that actually here in just a couple months. Coming in at number 8 is another movie I had no idea that they were doing, but it's coming out around March 5th. Right now it's sitting at March 5th, and they've already got a commercial for it and everything. So maybe I was just asleep or missed it, or maybe I heard them talking about it and I've just forgotten. There's been so much going on lately. But Coming to America 2, starring Eddie Murphy. It's going to have Arsenio Hall and James Earl Jones. Hey, man, I'm here for it. Coming to America is a hilarious film. And after seeing the trailer, it looks like they're going to continue to have a lot of good comedy in here. I'm excited to see it. It's going to be a good time. Eddie Murphy has been kind of out of the Hollywood scene for a while now. Of course, last year, or maybe that was 2019. It was either early 2020. I think it was late, actually, 2019. Eddie Murphy did a film called Dolomite. Dolomite was really funny. Not a lot of people saw it. It was on Netflix, but Dolomite was a lot of fun. It was really funny. It's not family friendly either, but a lot of good comedy there. And so the last thing I saw Eddie Murphy do was really good, which was good to see him out and about and doing a movie, and he looked like he had a lot of fun with it. So it's good to see him back out again doing another movie that I know he's going to have a lot of energy for. He's going to be excited to do, being a sequel to one of his greatest films of all time, probably. So really looking forward to Coming to America 2. It's supposed to be dropping in March 5th, so excited about that one. Up next, we have another sequel. So far, the list being pretty well dominated by sequels and prequels, but a lot of good stuff coming out. And this one I'm excited for. I know there's probably a lot of mixed feelings about this one, but The Matrix 4 is supposed to come out at the end of December. Also, currently sitting at December 22nd. So if things hold true, it'll drop at the same time as the new Sherlock Holmes movie. The Matrix 4, I'm super excited about. A lot of people love the first Matrix, but hate the second two. So 2 and 3. But I actually always liked 2 and 3 too. I understand that the science and it gets a little bogged down in its own lore, but I enjoyed it. I had fun with it, and I think if you kind of turn your brain off and don't overthink it too much. I know there's some plot issues. They aren't perfect movies by any stretch of the imagination, but they are a lot of fun, and it's fun to see Keanu Reeves. I love Keanu Reeves, so anytime he does something, it excites me a little bit. And knowing that he's coming back for a fourth Matrix, I've got a good feeling that they're going to handle this really well. Keanu Reeves has been on a hot streak, and everything he touches right now has been really good for the last couple years, several years even. Really looking forward to The Matrix 4. I think it's going to be a really good time. Okay, coming up on number 6 is one that I didn't expect to have on this list. It's another sequel. The Suicide Squad 2 movie is coming out in August. I didn't like the first one. The first one wasn't that good, but honestly, it seems like they're starting to figure it out. DC is just a little bit starting to kind of figure out how to do this superhero movie thing. It looks like a good cast. Of course, the cast is enormous. There are people all over the place, from John Cena, of course, Margot Robbie, Jai Courtney's coming back, who I think was the best part of the first movie. His Captain Boomerang was really good. It was a really good portrayal of the character. And so I'm excited to see Jai Courtney come back. There are a lot of people. Idris Elba, I don't know if I mentioned him or not. He's coming. So just an enormous cast. And it looks like that they're putting in a lot of different random, obscure DC characters. They're throwing them in there. I think a lot of them are going to die. Many of them probably are going to die in the first 20 minutes of the film. I have no doubt that there's going to be like a Suicide Squad that maybe fails the mission at the beginning, and then we get Margot Robbie and a few of the others. And I expect some of the second team to die as well, but I think we're going to see a team go in to whatever it is that they are tasked to do, and I think you're going to see them get wiped out completely, probably in glorious, bloody, hilarious fashion, and then we'll see the second team get called in and probably succeed. But I expect they'll lose a few too, because there are a lot of expendable, very strange names popping up in this group. If you haven't seen the trailer, go watch it. It's not really a trailer for the movie so much as it is just a list of all the different characters and actors that we're going to get. Again, I didn't expect to be excited for it. I didn't like the first Suicide Squad, but I've just got a gut feeling about this. I think this is going to be a really good movie. Holding out hope. I can be a little optimistic. Coming in at number 6, here's hoping, man. Suicide Squad, let's get it right this time. Okay, top 5 movies that I'm looking forward to in 2021. And coming up next, dropping, of course, right before Halloween, October 15th, is Halloween Kills. Halloween Kills is the sequel to the movie that was a sequel to the original Halloween movie that erased all the other sequels that previously existed, including Rob Zombie's sequels / origin story. I guess Rob Zombies weren't ever sequels. Rob Zombies was a reboot that also had a sequel, and that's gone too. But if you get away from the confusing timeline and just look at it for what it is, the Halloween sequel titled Halloween that we got last year, 2019, that we got. It's weird to think, because in movies 2020 it basically didn't happen. So I keep thinking every movie happened last year when really it was, I guess, a year and a half or 2 years ago now. So in October 2019, we got the Halloween sequel titled Halloween, and now we have the sequel to it, Halloween Kills. I'm not a big fan of the title of this one. Halloween Kills sounds like a goofy. It doesn't even sound like a real Halloween movie. It sounds like a movie that would be making fun of, like a satirical Halloween movie. I don't know. It doesn't sound like a real title, but whatever. I know that they did a really good job on the first movie. Jamie Lee Curtis is coming back, so I'm super excited to see what they've got in store for us this time. I trust this team. They've got a good direction. They've got good writers. They have people that care about the subject material, so I don't think they're going to let us down. I've got high hopes for Halloween Kills coming up in October. Okay, coming up next, and I didn't realize when I put this list together that all of these movies are sequels, at least so far. There's one on the whole list that isn't a sequel. They're all good sequels, I hope. Some of them I'm kind of rolling dice on, but some of them like this one, I'm 100% sure is going to be a great movie, and that is A Quiet Place 2. A Quiet Place 2 will be coming out in April, and it will star Emily Blunt, and John Krasinski will be back behind the camera directing. So it's probably going to be a great movie. To be honest, I wasn't super excited about A Quiet Place 2. I thought it was a great standalone film. I don't think it needs a sequel, especially having the movie without John Krasinski. I love John Krasinski. I think he's an amazing actor, but also he's the type of guy that I go to a movie for. And so knowing that he died in the first one, spoilers, sorry, but you should have seen it by now. Knowing that he died in the first one, I didn't really want to see the second one a whole lot. And then I saw the trailer, and the trailer gave me plenty to be hopeful for. Number one, there appear to be flashbacks of when the whole thing started. So I guess whenever the aliens or monsters or whatever they are first began attacking. And so there is a flashback scene like that in the trailer. And I'm hoping maybe we'll see John just a little bit. Just give me a little bit of John. Okay, I just need a little bit of John, and I'll be happy. Okay, just give me a little bit of John in the flashback, and I'm satisfied. But beyond that, I also got something else. I talked about how John Krasinski really puts butts in the seats in theaters. Cillian Murphy is going to be in this movie, and that excites me so much. I'm a huge Cillian Murphy fan. I have been for a long time. He was great in the Batman movies. He was great in Inception. He's also amazing in Peaky Blinders as the lead role there. So having Cillian Murphy in this movie, who I'm a huge fan of, is a big selling point. Aside from that, the trailer itself is really exciting. It's good to look at. It looks like it's going to be a good film. I know that the people who are involved are passionate about this project, which is always a good thing. Movies are always better when everyone involved cares about the movie. Super excited for A Quiet Place 2. I think it's going to be really good. That's what makes it an easy number 4 on this list. Oh, and it's coming out in April. I don't remember if I said that or not. Okay, coming in at number 3 is a movie that is also technically a sequel, and that is Death on the Nile. It would be a sequel to A Murder on the Orient Express. Now, these are all films based on the books by Agatha Christie, and the first movie was really, really good. I super enjoyed that movie, and so sort of not a movie that I hear people talking about very much, but Murder on the Orient Express was really good, and we've got another star-studded cast coming in for this movie. I think it's going to be great. I've got no reason to expect it'll be anything short of a phenomenal film. I'm a sucker for a murder mystery, so, I'm ready for it. Okay, up next at number 2, I'm super excited for this movie, Mortal Kombat, coming out in April. Now, I won't bother to try to name off some of the actors in this movie. They're mostly unknown actors, and I would butcher most of their names anyway. A lot of foreign names in there that I would have trouble pronouncing, so I'm not even going to try it. And look, if I'm being honest, this is my number 2 movie, and I am fully aware that this movie is probably going to be awful. It's probably going to be terrible, but I cannot wait. I've been a fan of Mortal Kombat for my entire life. I've always enjoyed the video games. Their over-the-top violence is just a lot of fun. I know a lot of parents have nightmares about their kids playing these games, but I love these games. They're a lot of fun. And there's actually a lot of really interesting lore behind the Mortal Kombat mythos. And so I'm very interested to see what they bring to the screen. I think it's going to be a really good time. I think it's going to be just a lot of fun to watch. Look, it's not going to be a super compelling story or anything like that. I'm not expecting any Oscar-winning performances here, but I'm expecting to have a lot of fun watching this movie. Look, it's karate. It's a bunch of guys fighting and maybe some heads getting pulled off, who knows? It's going to be awesome. I hope somebody reaches in and yanks out a spine or something crazy. I hope if they're doing it that they're going to go over the top with it and they're just going to make it as Mortal Kombat as they can. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great time. Mortal Kombat coming out in April. Okay, my number 1 most anticipated movie of 2021 is the untitled Spider-Man 3 sequel. Now listen, after Infinity War and Endgame and all that good stuff, I'm pretty much done with Marvel for the most part. I just feel like it's a really good place to stop. And I've been a fan of Marvel movies for so long. It just feels like a good ending where I can kind of get off this train. Plus the lineup of new superheroes they have coming, I'm not super interested in. And so that kind of helps me move away from it. But Spider-Man is a part of that core group. He's been around since Civil War. And so I'm excited to see what his third movie has involved. Also, we're going to get Doctor Strange in it, so there's bound to be some madness happening. There's no telling what kind of reality-breaking wizardry he's going to bring, and he's one of my favorite Avengers, so looking forward to seeing Benedict Cumberbatch come back for Doctor Strange in this film. It's going to be a lot of fun. But if that's not enough to get you excited, and listen, I fully expect this part to not even have a big part in the movie. Let me explain. Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, two former Spider-Men, are appearing in the movie. It's confirmed. Now, granted, I don't think they will show up until the very end, and it will give way to a sequel with all three of them. But there is going to be a Spider-Verse type thing happen at some point in this movie, and Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield will show up. It may be an end credit scene, who knows? But they will be in this film. It's supposedly confirmed. So that's got me excited. I grew up watching Tobey Maguire. He was the first Spider-Man. He's the Spider-Man I grew up watching if you don't count the animated series. But right after the animated series, he's the Spider-Man. So to see him reprise this role, even if it is like an older Spider-Man, sort of a rugged, been through it all kind of Spider-Man, I think it's going to be super interesting. We'll get to see where Andrew Garfield ended up after his awful movie. I'm super excited. 3 Spider-Men, put me down. Put me in the seat. Take my money. I cannot wait to see all 3 Spider-Men on the screen, and maybe we'll get to see Doctor Strange in there with them. It could be an amazing time. It opens the door for so many curveballs and so many possibilities. There's no telling what could happen. It would be amazing if somehow the Green Goblin ended up back in there. And yes, I mean Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin. I would love to see that again. I don't care. Give me anything. Maybe they can get Tom Hardy in there with his Venom. I don't know, guys. I'm just spitballing, but there's so many possibilities. How could you not be excited for it? Anyway, that's my number one most anticipated movie of 2021. What are your anticipated movies of 2021? There are some glaring things that I left off this list. I do have reasons for leaving them off. I do have my own personal reasons for not looking forward to certain movies this coming year. I'm thinking if there's enough backlash, if there's enough back and forth and people wondering why I left certain movies off, I'm thinking about making another short video just explaining probably 5 or 6 other films and why I left them off this list. If that interests you, be sure to let me know. Please comment on the video. Say, hey, man, I want to see it. I want to know why. Whatever it is, if you want to leave your 10 anticipated movies of 2021 down below, please do so. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. Continue to watch. Thank you, and I will see you on the next one. Hang on. I'm supposed to say something else. Oh, yeah. It's just one man's opinion. Thanks.